In the bustling city of Belfast, Northern Ireland, the courtroom of Judge Sir John Gillen was known for its strict adherence to decorum and procedure. On a chilly morning in 2016, the atmosphere was no different as the judge prepared to preside over a series of cases. Among the day's docket was a property repossession case involving a defendant who had chosen to represent himself, a decision that often drew the ire of the judiciary. The defendant, an off-duty police officer, entered the courtroom with a demeanor that was both calm and resolute. His quiet confidence seemed to unsettle Judge Gillen, who was accustomed to the formalities observed by legal professionals. The officer's decision to self-represent was perceived by the judge as a challenge to the court's authority. As the proceedings commenced, the officer presented his arguments methodically, citing legal precedents and statutes to support his case against the repossession of his home by a prominent bank. Judge Gillen, however, appeared dismissive, interrupting the officer multiple times and questioning his understanding of the law. "Do you honestly believe," the judge interjected with a tone dripping with condescension, "that your rudimentary grasp of legal principles can withstand the scrutiny of this court?" The officer remained composed, responding, "Your Honor, I am merely exercising my right to a fair hearing and presenting the facts as they pertain to my case." The exchange continued with Judge Gillen growing increasingly impatient. His questions became more pointed, and his demeanor more abrasive, as he sought to undermine the officer's credibility. Observers in the courtroom sensed the tension escalating, with some exchanging uneasy glances. Unbeknownst to those present, the officer had anticipated such a reaction. He had meticulously prepared for this encounter, aware of the judge's reputation for intolerance towards self-represented litigants. His strategy was not solely to defend his property but to address a broader issue of judicial conduct. As the hearing progressed, Judge Gillen's behavior became increasingly erratic. He dismissed the officer's evidence without substantial consideration and openly mocked his legal arguments. The officer, maintaining his composure, requested a brief recess to gather his thoughts. During the recess, the officer approached the court clerk and handed over a sealed envelope, instructing that it be delivered to the judge immediately. The clerk, puzzled but compliant, presented the envelope to Judge Gillen in his chambers. Upon opening the envelope, Judge Gillen's expression shifted from irritation to shock. Inside was a formal notice of arrest, citing the judge for contempt of court and abuse of judicial authority. The document detailed specific instances where the judge had overstepped his bounds, including his conduct in the current case. Flustered and enraged, Judge Gillen stormed back into the courtroom, waving the notice. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded, his voice echoing through the chamber. The officer stood calmly and addressed the court. "Your Honor, as a sworn officer of the law, it is my duty to uphold justice impartially. Your conduct today has violated the principles of fairness and integrity that our legal system is built upon. Therefore, I am placing you under arrest." Gasps filled the courtroom as spectators grappled with the unprecedented turn of events. The judge, now visibly trembling, attempted to assert his authority. "You have no power here. This is my courtroom." "Respectfully, Your Honor," the officer replied, "no one is above the law." The arrest of Judge Gillen sent shock waves through the legal community. News outlets across the country reported on the incident, sparking debates about judicial accountability and the balance of power within the courtroom. An investigation into the judge's conduct was launched, revealing a pattern of behavior that had previously gone unchallenged. Several cases were reviewed, and instances where the judge had exhibited bias or abused his authority came to light. The officer's bold actions were met with both praise and criticism. Some lauded him as a hero who stood up against judicial tyranny, while others viewed his methods as a dangerous precedent that could undermine the judiciary's independence. Legal scholars weighed in on the situation, discussing the implications for future cases and the mechanisms in place to check judicial misconduct. The incident prompted a review of the protocols for addressing complaints against judges, leading to reforms aimed at ensuring greater transparency and accountability. Judge Gillen faced a formal tribunal and was ultimately removed from the bench. The officer's case against the bank was revisited, and with a new judge presiding, he received a fair hearing. The court ruled in his favor, allowing him to retain his home. This extraordinary episode served as a poignant reminder that justice is a collective responsibility, and that even those who preside over the law are subject to its principles. The quiet man's unwavering commitment to fairness not only safeguarded his own rights, but also reinforced the foundational tenet that no one is above the law.